What is up, everybody? Episode 177. This episode presented by Disc Golf 978. Disc Golf 978 is doing fire things. In fact, many of you reached out to see about these amateur payouts. I absolutely love them. And if I'm being honest, I want every single tournament around the country, maybe the globe. I don't travel that much internationally, but to use these amateur payouts, these amateur player packs, because if I win at your event or place, I don't win that often either. If I place, it goes right into my Disc Golf 978 bank account, and it is super easy to just keep building it up to get what I want instead of necessarily what the tournament director thinks I want, or just like another disc. So it goes both player packs and payouts. Fantastic. I'm telling you, everyone around the country can use this. It's super easy. They've got a great website. They have all the discs you'd ever want. And I've ordered baskets and everything else. By the way, guys, fun fact, I just reclassified from professional to amateur. It is done. I was able to do it. I met the criteria. I am now officially once again an amateur. I've always been an amateur, but my classification was pro. And we've got the whole lineup here. Nick, Evan, Josh, Ben. Mm-hmm. We've got Paul KRANS in our actual studio, not even virtual studio. We'll bring him in just a minute. Guys, I would say by raise of hands, but let's just go to Nick. Nick, you weren't here last week. Who did you pick to win the Super Bowl, though? Anybody?
Honestly, no. I was kind of more so hoping for the Niners, but yeah, I figured Kansas City was going to win.
You figured it. Okay. Well, yeah. I did pick Kansas City, so point for me. Evan, did you pick? I forget.
Yeah, I picked Kansas City as well, but was rooting for the Niners. So kind of went exactly how I was expecting. Like Niners are looking like they got it, and then Chiefs end up winning. And
Josh,
that's what happened.
You picked the Chiefs, right, Josh?
Yeah, just I said for family rooting interests. I don't think I actually love the team per se, but yes, I'm not surprised at the outcome. Although it was a pretty weird game. I mean, yeah. What was it? Was it 10-6, 10-3 at halftime or something?
It was 3-0 almost through the whole.
Anyway, and then obviously, sure, the excitement ramped up at the end, so it's still exciting. Yeah. That's what I really was rooting for.
And Ben, who did you pick? You said I'm a big fan. I'm sure.
No. I wanted the Niners to win, but again, if I went with the Chiefs because just logically, I just thought they would win.
So 1, 2, 3, 4 of us picked the Chiefs, including Nick, who said he would have or he thought they'd win. They did. None of us got the correct score, though, right? Who got the closest? Anybody?
I don't remember my score.
I don't remember giving a score.
I said 27-17. That wasn't that far off, right? It was 26 at the end to like 22 or something.
25 to 20. No. 25 to 20.
Correct.
25 to 22.
I'll give myself the pat on the back.
We're there.
There's a little bit where I thought it might go my way. That's enough about Super Bowl and football and all that. I want to take a shift, actually, kind of in a little bit more of a somber moment here. But PDGA number 33. 3-3. That's back in the beginning when realistically you were probably at a time where you were getting handed it by Ed Hedrick himself, and probably he might have even asked you what number you wanted. That's very possible. I'm talking to others like, anyways, go John Kirkland and all these others that I've been able to meet and have the privilege to either play around with or hang out with. 33 is early enough that you were an influencer of the sport of Frisbee. Absolutely. There's no question about it. You're back there in the beginning. But this Tom Monroe, he passed away Saturday. We heard about him. There's videos on him. If you look this up on YouTube, he was a driving force in Frisbees back in the 70s all the way through until just this last Saturday. He touched and influenced many of the legends of disc golf. Our condolences and our well wishes to everyone affected by that. I'm seeing it ripple throughout the whole disc golf community. So definitely from our show and all that are listening, heartfelt condolences. And with that, I've already talked a lot, but I'm going to throw it over to Evan. He's going to give us some stat recaps on some of the events that are taking place this past week. What's up, Evan?
Well, not much is going on. Just kidding. A lot is going on. We've been talking overseas a lot, and I'm going to continue to do that because There probably one more big notable event from New Zealand that people will recognize with, top pros such as Juliana Korver or Corey Ellis playing over there. And this one was the 2024 Bottle Lake Open. It was an A tier for pros down in New Zealand. I think they call it the Tour Down Under down there. Juliana Korver wins an FPO by 31 strokes. She finished even par, and the next closest competitor was 31 over par. That is quite the win, kind of dominating fashion for Juliana Korver, but that's not to be not expected from JK, who's done that lots in her career. She has now won all three of her events in New Zealand on this short little trip that she takes down under. I like saying that. I'm going to continue to do that down under part. So don't hate, appreciate. She won the Taupo Open, the New Zealand National Championships, and now the Bottle Lake Open, going 3 for 3 down under. In MPO, Levi Stout wins. He beats Luke Humphreys by 1 stroke. Corey Ellis, who's been the notable name, mentioned him earlier. He had a DNF in round 1. I don't know the exact reason, but he did DNF. Levi Stout finished 2nd and 4th in his last 2 events with these Americans coming down under. He only lost by 2 strokes to Corey Ellis at Taupo, but a little bit more at the New Zealand National Championships. But he gets the win here. He had 8 straight pro wins in New Zealand prior to these Americans coming over and then losing 2. And now he's back to winning. He's the highest rated player in New Zealand. He's the only one that's over 1,000. He's 1,007. He's also the highest ranked player by the Statmando official rankings from New Zealand. He's number 265 in the world otherwise, which might not sound good, but really is pretty good if you really think about that. The entire globe being number 265 at something, that's pretty impressive. Look out for him. He is young. He literally just played the PDGA Junior World Championships last year in Illinois. Matt, you were out at that one, right?
I
or was. That
2
years ago?
Yeah, there was smoke.
So he was
everywhere.
out there, finished 5th in MJ18. He also played 2 Disc Golf Pro Tour events while on this little American stint. He finished 29th at the Grip Equipment Kansas City Wide Open and 91st at the Dynamic Disc Open, which was an elite event. Those are his only 3 events of his career outside of New Zealand. So saying his name, he's come up a lot in these kind of recent recaps and me looking at New Zealand. But we'll be interested to see what his career has in store from him all the way there down under in New Zealand.
Wow. To this point though, absolute fire. If that's your only 3 events, that's incredible. All right, Evan, I cut you off.
That was so confusing. I was like, did I do something wrong?
It lit on fire.
Yeah.
For those listening and driving around in your cars or at work, there was a fire that just swept across the screen. All right, Evan, keep going.
Yeah, well, it was after it got switched to you, Matt. So I think the fire was meant for me, but I needed a break there because I was talking a lot and was about to run out of air. So thank you for that. The other AT of the weekend was the 2024 Gulf Coast Charity Open. Matthew Blakely wins an MPO. He's an MP40 eligible player. He wins an MP40. He wins an MPO here. He beats another MP40 or MP50 player in Johnny McRae. And then in FPO, Morgan Linz beats Jordan Linz by a single stroke. Morgan Linz is 12 rating points higher than Jordan, but their PDG numbers are only 1 apart. Morgan is 176.242 and Jordan's 176.243. But then on the other side of this, not generation, a different generation, but on the other side of FPO, there's 2 players with low PDGA numbers, Sandy Gast and Pamaflaj Renicky, who were also 1 stroke apart, although Sandy Gast with the higher PDG number was the one with the better score. They are 6.440 and 6.439. They love to play, FPO events, even with the Linz being a number of years younger than them, kind of entering FPO. So that's cool to see. And then swinging it across the globe, the Okinawa Open in Japan, Manabu Kajiyama wins. That's his 7th time winning the Okinawa Open. And then Carissa Deadman, who's from California of the United States of America, went out to Japan and won by 14 strokes in FPO, her first ever event outside the United States. Then out in Idaho, I believe. I didn't write this down, but I'm pretty sure it was in Idaho, which I'm curious why I was in Idaho. I need to learn more about this event.
Idaho.
But the Ulibarri Safari, that's a good one, Matt. The Ulibarri Safari had Paul Ulibarri win an MPO. You think that you should win an event with your own name. But I do want to note that Paul Ulibarri finished second the last 2 years he's played this event in 2022 and 2023, but gets the win this year. Ulibarri Safari is high in my rankings of best tournament names I've heard. That one's fantastic, and I do want to learn more about that. I don't have the more info right now that people are probably hoping I had, but I need to learn it, and they can share it when I learn more. But go ahead, Matt.
There would be an interesting stat to be found out. Players that have an event named after them, how many win losses? Because remember Paul Macbeth, wasn't it Macbeth Wintertime Open at one point? Or was
I don't think the name of the tournament was that.
Or he was the main sponsor,
I think
right?
it was presented. Yeah, I think it was the Wintertime Open presented by Paul Macbeth.
There you go. So
wait, actually?
Yeah.
No.
I think so. This
Yes.
was like 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, I remember it.
Something like that.
I have a little insight on the Ulibarri Safari just because on Tour Life he talked about it. He said that it used to be a fundraiser back in the day for him when to support him to go on tour. So the funds from that tournament would go to him. I don't know why it's in Idaho, but now he says it's just a tradition he just does because, his name's still there. But before it was so people could support him on tour.
It's so he can raise money for a baby. Am I incorrect with that? If I am, I just put my foot in my mouth.
heard it.
I think that was a public announcement, right?
Yeah,
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Okay,
was.
good.
Yes.
I'm like,
Yeah.
please confirm.
His wife is
I'm just like
expecting.
slowly sliding down my seat.
Oh, yeah, I did see that. I did see that.
Okay,
good.
good.
All right, that's cool.
All right, what else
and
you got, Evan?
Little Eula baby coming. His name's so easy to make, fun things with, like the
Eula
Ulibarri
baby.
Safari. I'm going to say Eula baby. Like, it's a cool last name. I'm a little jealous of Paul there. And going back to the Wintertime Open, you guys are correct. In 2020, the 42nd annual Wintertime Open presented by Paul Macbeth, and then parentheses pro weekend for at least the one that Paul Macbeth was playing in. So last event I'll hit, speaking on player names being in the tournament name or slightly kind of not really. Andrew Presnell wins the 9th annual Presidential Cup in Missouri. So he often goes by Prez, wins the Presidential Cup. I thought that was also interesting because it's called the Presidential Cup. Many people will know of the President's Cup being kind of the unique format of Team Europe versus Team USA out at the European Open. This is, of course, a very different event out in Missouri and not Finland. And Presnell won this once before, so it's his second win at the Presidential Cup. So I bet he calls that the Prez Cup, or people will call that once he starts winning it too often. But that's all I got. We got All-Star Weekend coming this weekend. That's saying weekend a lot, but that is exciting to have the Pro Tour season here. I know that's what a lot of people expect. I certainly love talking about lots of events. There's lots of cool things to dive into, so I appreciate the people who do enjoy this. And we'll try to keep it up, but we'll, of course, have the Pro Tour season being front and center for lots of people.
All right. And with that awesome recap, there's some conversation to come out of that for sure, but we're going to welcome to the show live for the first time in 2024. Everybody, PDGA World Champion, Amateur World Champion, PDGA Professional Rookie of the Year, Paul KRANS. Welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good. People sometimes know this, others don't, but you are a local here, right? Like how far away did you have to drive to get here?
30 minutes.
30. So I think anything inside of 30 is considered pretty local.
Yep.
Do you live in Massachusetts or Connecticut?
I live in Massachusetts, but my house is touching the Connecticut border, so I can walk outside and be in Connecticut.
Fun fact.
That's
so,
super cool. I'm interested.
Yeah, what stat is that? Like, have you ever putted across state lines?
Yeah, I've tried to hit a bee's nest out of my neighbor's tree, and his tree is in Connecticut. So I was trying to throw a disc at a tree in Connecticut from Massachusetts.
That's fantastic. So we're gonna make this a little bit more conversation based for sure than rather than just like deep dive interview. We kind of did that with the Amateur Worlds thing, which by the way, you've only went up from there. Tell us real quick, because you said the other day, and I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but it implied that the PDGA Rookie of the Year got a little bit more attention than maybe you expected. Like, congrats on that, dude. That is fantastic and well earned. Talk to us about that. What'd you think?
Yeah, I knew about the PDGA Rookie of the Year for a little while now because I was watching the point standings. The only one that could beat me was Braden Sides, but he ended up dropping out of like 2 of his last A tiers. But once I saw that, I was like, I knew that I got it, but I didn't realize how much like attention it was gonna get until I saw the posts that were made, and I think I got like maybe 50 to 100 reshares within the first couple hours on Instagram, and Facebook blew up. I really didn't realize how big of a title it was until they posted it. But when they announced it, it was honestly a surprise to me because I knew about it for quite a while, and then I forgot about it for a month maybe. And then when I saw the post, it was like a huge surprise. So it was a fun little reveal and something to remember forever.
So you were just kind of like scrolling,
Mhm.
really?
Yeah.
And you're like, you scrolled back a little bit?
Yeah, I opened up Facebook, and the first post I saw was Paul KRANS PDGA Rookie of the Year, and I was like, oh my gosh. I was not expecting them to post it. I honestly forgot that they were going to do something about it.
That to me is a moment I would have loved to have just been there, fly on the wall. He's just scrolling, just scrolling back. That's awesome, dude. I'm sure then you pass it along to people like your parents and significant others. Like, dude, look what just happened, kind of thing. And their reactions were just ecstatic too.
Yeah, no, they were super excited, and it was just a fun thing to. I basically spent all day reading messages and responding to people and saying thank you. But that was a fun day to sit inside on I think it was negative 30 degrees that day in Iowa.
What?
So,
Iowa. Okay.
Yeah. So
you were in Iowa?
Yeah, I was in Iowa when they announced it. So it was like negative 30 degrees. So I stayed inside all day and just read messages.
Was that the day that I brought up that crew who's played like 600 weekends in a row, including that one that was like minus wherever in Iowa? There's some crew in Iowa.
Yeah.
Anyways, enough about Iowa. Dude, you're sitting here with us. You're getting ready to hit the road. About how many days or hours are we talking until you go where?
I leave for Florida in 2 days, so Thursday. Or no, 3 days. Whatever Thursday is. The
when
15th.
People are listening to this, it might be that day.
Yeah,
so
I leave on the 15th. I don't have a set time yet. It just depends on when I'm ready.
Wow.
So it could be morning, it could be night. But I leave on the 15th and hopefully should get there by the 17th. And then I'll probably spectate the chess.com. Or no, sorry, I'll spectate I'll spectate the All-Star event.
Yeah.
And then I'll start preparing and practicing for chess.com.
We've got some people in here who know something about that course and venue, I'm sure. Maybe we could actually do a little 5-up with Paul KRANS. We can kind of panel discussion here. So you're traveling down there. You're going to spectate the All-Stars at some level so people can get autographs and buy discs. Are you going to be like vending out of your van and things like that?
Middle of the year when I get my discs and whatever, I'll have them to sell on the road. So I don't have anything right now, but I will at some point.
Okay. Do you have any questions for the course owner here? Or owner's a little much, right,
yeah,
Nick?
not owner.
Okay. Course, what do we call you? Course director?
President?
Manager. Yeah, just course manager.
President.
Executive vice president, something.
Do you have any questions for this guy? Tips, tricks?
We have some stupid title for me, but I forget exactly what it is. It's like Chief Operating Officer of the worldwide prestigiousness of Olympus. It's something like super long and stupid, but that's
You got to get that on a shirt.
Yeah, my shirt will say Mr. Olympus. That's what everyone's been like. I'm kind of dubbing as the nickname now is Mr. Olympus.
Nice.
So
first question for the course is, what is what's the rating for par going to be looking like?
Hoping, from what people have been telling me so far, they think it's going to rate anywhere from 1010 to 1020. I think that's a little too high. I'm hoping anywhere from like 10 to 1005 to 1010.
Yeah,
would be, I think, what's going to happen. But we're adding an OB. It's going to be a full field of players, so who knows? It could be. I'm just hoping it's one of those courses where it's 8 to 9 points a stroke rather than 5.5 points a stroke.
Yeah. I saw Braden Sidis, he posted a video of playing front nine, back nine, and he I got to watch the course and it looks absolutely fantastic. You said you're adding OB, and
yes.
how much is that going to be?
So property lines, so you'll see OBs. If I go through the course actually in my head, you'll see OBs on 1, 2, 3, 4. You shouldn't on 5, shouldn't on 6, 7, 8, 9. So probably about 50% of them will have OB, but some of them, realistically, as a good player, it shouldn't come into play at all. Like hole 2 is just a property line. Hole 3 is just a property line. 2 or 3 good shots, and you're going to be perfectly fine. You shouldn't ever fight with the OB on it. There are some holes, though, where fairways run parallel with other fairways, like 13, 14, and 15 all run back and forth. And so if you're, too far to the left on 14, you're probably OB because you're in 13.
Yeah,
fairway.
similar to
So
toboggan.
stuff like that. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Sweet.
So I'm going to open it up to others in just a minute here, but we share something in common at the show with you, and we're going to get into another topic here. All of this makes sense in a minute. Your team MVP now, which you were throwing Discmania before.
Yep.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
You're happy with that contract?
Very happy.
You probably can't tell us the full deals, but do you think this is better than you had expected? Or is this exactly what you wanted?
It's in between.
Okay.
It's better than I expected and worse than I expected. I don't know
Or
how to
than you
explain.
hoped.
I can't. Yeah,
Better-
I can't.
okay, that's
I
interesting.
I can't say, but it's very good for me for my first year.
There you go. Very good for him for his first year. And so we might circle back around to that if anybody has any questions on that. But then Disc Golf 978, are you still sponsored by them?
Yep.
Okay. So Disc Golf 978, I'm bringing it up again. We talked about their tournament player packs, their payouts. They do big things in the community here, and you're a part of that. They also sponsor Casey White.
Casey White, yep.
I'm just saying notable, I guess, names
Yeah.
that people would know. Soon to be Simon Lizotte. No, I'm kidding. Who knows?
Yeah.
I'm just making that rumor up. But they're fantastic. They have the rock bottom prices, and they confirm this with me. I always say it, and people maybe I don't come across genuine enough. They invest back into the community like I've seen nobody else do as far as like a disc golf brand goes.
Yeah, they definitely put the community before themselves.
It's incredible. In fact, they did a full charity giving back to Eagle. He came on our show and they sold off the special disc that Eagle had, and they gave back $5 of everything to the charity. Like, I'm like, dude, you're not making money off of that, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's okay.
No,
community first.
I would call them, or I have said in posts many times that they are the best disc golf family to be a part of. Like, I so blessed to have them in my backyard.
Do you have a code? Like,
In
if
Connecticut?
people check out? Yeah, in Connecticut. Do you have a code? Like, if people go to 978?
I have an affiliate link.
Let's just do it this way. We love 978. We'll get you. We'll know the connection there with Paul, and it's through our show. We love 978. We'll get you that connection to us. Go check it out, Disc Golf 978. Okay, so you're not an all-star this year.
Nope.
Is there any chance of that in 2025?
Yes.
Yeah, you think so?
I strongly believe that I can do it. And how many players are in it?
Who wants to speak up on that? I don't know. It's probably 16, maybe.
Isn't it like 30? Oh,
12?
I thought like over.
We're all
well, I thought
over.
it was like over the course of like. Isn't there a bunch for fielding games and stuff?
I think it's
I guess
12.
maybe I'm thinking of. Maybe I'm thinking of.
I'm
FPO and
combining it
MPO.
all together, like the field
Yeah,
games and
so
the
maybe-
tournament play.
24 to 32.
By voting or other criteria. I forget the exact words, like standings are within it. But so there's 12 total per division. So that would be 24.
Oh,
But then you mentioned the field games, and I'm not super aware on how many other players are participating.
But All Stars is 12
But I think
each.
for the realistic, you should say the top 12. And Paul's playing MPO, just to be clear. So there's only 12 spots for Paul.
Yeah. So maybe not for 2025. But
He gave up on his dreams.
No,
listen,
don't give up.
No.
I thought it was 32. That
One
got
day.
in.
Oh, that's the tour champion.
Tour
That's tour
championship, okay.
championships.
No.
I think both are great goals. I think the Tour Championship, like, that's open for lots of players. So if that's your goal, I think that's
Yeah,
fantastic.
that's a good
That's
goal.
what I was thinking of for a second. So
Okay, there we go.
Hey, well, I just say one day Paul's gonna wake up and scroll Facebook, and it's gonna be like, "Congrats to Paul for being an all-star."
You're an
you know?
all-star.
It might
That's the
happen, who knows?
strategy.
Yeah.
Just relax, go out there, play your best, and see what happens.
I don't think any of us laughed because we thought it was unreal. I think we laughed because it's awesome to think about how that would happen. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's at least I'm speaking for myself. So all-star event, you're going to be down there for the chess.com invitational.
Yep.
And you're playing in it. And you're playing in every single event this year as your goal.
Yeah, I'm playing every Pro Tour event besides the West Coast swing, so Portland, OTB, and Beaver State, and then I'm not playing European Open. So I'm playing 17 tour events other than the ones I just
What are you
named.
doing when you're not going to the West Coast? Any events?
I have a couple A tiers sprinkled in, but it's more of just relaxed time. So I have 11 weeks straight of traveling and competing, and then I have like a couple weeks off, then an A tier, then a couple weeks off, A tier, a couple weeks off. So I'm giving myself time to relax and wind down instead of going straight through the year and tiring myself out. Because if I decided to do West Coast, I would have no time off until European Open, and that would only be like 2.5 weeks off, and then it would be straight through the end of like October. So I'm giving myself time off and making sure I can reset.
Very mature, I think. Yeah, I do think
Well,
it's smart.
I want to ask, Paul, so is that something that's in your nature and you feel like that's wise, or have you gotten advice from those on tour to say, find some time to relax? It's just interesting as the sport's matured, we're seeing that more. So like, what led you to that decision?
That was just because I knew I needed it. Because even when I was playing local A tiers, I would get tired. But it was more of, I got tired because when I had time off, I had to go back home and I had my own landscaping business. So I mowed lawns during my time off. So I had really no time to rest. But I knew I needed time off after 11 weeks straight. And I made sure to overbook my year. I'm playing 23 events right now. And that's from leaving in 3 days all the way until the end of October. So I have a very long year ahead of me, but I knew I needed time to relax and reset my body and just make sure I can compete at a higher level when the bigger tournaments come around. So I also didn't really want to drive all the way out west this year. I'd rather be
Smart.
within a day's drive of Mass, whereas like if I went out to the West Coast, it would be like a 3.5 day drive. So by me skipping that, I can be within 24 hours of home.
If flying was an option for one of those events, which one would you choose?
Probably Beaver State.
The chat's asking for that.
Yeah.
They're like, we'll raise money for that. Is it, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, but is it a money thing? If it was like, oh, I had a flight, would you even consider it? Or are you like, still, no, that might be too much?
It would be a mental thing.
Okay.
If I'm mentally okay with it and prepared, I would. But that's only if it's all paid for.
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna put my money towards it and then tire myself out. So
But if you could see the future and you would take down Beaver State Fling, would you do it?
yeah.
So
if you were guaranteed to know that you won a tournament, you would go to it.
he's like, mental or not. Yeah, no, that's cool. That was a bad question, but it was also fun.
Hey, I just because the tiring thing, I think it's interesting you talk about a drive. Like, how are you actually touring?
Yeah.
Like, is this a car, a van?
Yeah, so I bought a Chevy Traverse, which is a big SUV. I took out the 2 middle captain seats. It was a 7-seat car, so I took out the 2 middle captain seats. I built a box that's like 30 inches by 35 inches, and that has about 85 discs in it and all the clothing that I'm going to be bringing. And there's a memory foam mattress. It's a twin mattress in the back. Solar panel on the roof, solar battery in the car, mini fridge in the car, and whatever else I may need. Like I bought a electric stove top cooker, pots and pans. It's very livable. But with that being said, I'm traveling in a car and sleeping in the car for half of a week. But then the other half of the week, I'm going to be in Airbnbs with Simon and my buddy Cal Longquist and Joey Tamale, and then whoever else is invited.
I love
Is that an
last line.
open invitation?
Well, it was to him.
Whoever else Simon invites, I should say.
Yeah. That sounds wonderful. Like, I mean, like you said, driving, living out, but then you're going to be in an Airbnb. That sounds like a really nice mix, actually.
Yeah. My favorite part about it is I don't have to go to laundromats. I can just go out of the Airbnb and do laundry there.
Yep.
Absolutely. Anybody else have a question for him? I have another topic, but anybody other have a question before we move on?
What
Yeah.
tour event are you looking forward to?
Chess.com.
Besides chess.com.
No,
Like when you're-
like
I'm
out of
dying to
out
go
of the
to.
17 that I'm playing, it's chess.com.
Yeah.
But I would
Really?
say I really was looking forward to Waco until I heard that they're adding a golf course, because I felt
Golf
like
course.
Waco was that one tournament that I could win.
Same.
Out of like without putting thought into it, Waco was the first.
Sorry.
Anyways.
When Nick goes, same.
Nick wanted top 5. He said it.
Yeah.
Sorry, keep
One
going.
top
That was
three.
good information.
Yeah, Waco is like the main event that off the top of my head would be like, yeah, I can win that. So, other than that, probably like Idlewild or even Worlds. I'm really looking forward to playing the Lynchburg course. I've seen it so much on YouTube.
Yeah. So you want to walk us through how you got this tour pass? Was this an exemption, but PDGA Rookie of the Year happened? Like, how did you get this tour pass? Because now I'm kind of taking this topic a little bit into the Q series announcement, which is going to be like a path for most people that are going to do it. But how did you do it?
For me personally, I had to apply for an exemption. This year they listed it as any like injury-based exemption. So like if Eagle didn't get a tour pass, he could apply for it and he would get it because he's a staple on the tour. But then they also did rating-based. And last year, the lowest rated player to get a full tour pass was like 1015. So me being at 1023 rated, I knew that I had a good chance of getting it. But obviously, the voices in your back of your head, you're like, am I going to actually get it? Am I going to get it? But yeah, so I had to apply through the exemption, and I had to like give. They asked a question saying, state your case on why we should grant you a tour pass. So I listed off some achievements and my dedication to wanting to tour. So they saw it and they gave me the full tour pass, and I was able to sign up for 12 events right away and have all the guarantees of touring.
And Evan, you might actually be familiar with this, but I'll ask Paul. If you had not been granted that and then you got PDGA Rookie of the Year, do you think that would have been enough regardless of your achievements? Well, I guess they're all kind of tied together, but do you think that would have been it, or you don't know?
I don't think that's the reason. I think my rating was the reason,
Okay.
and just the fact that I showed dedication to wanting to tour. Like I listed every event that I wanted to go to. So,
Okay.
But if I didn't get it, I probably would have reached out and asked again. I feel like I would have used that to my advantage to see if that was like them open up their eyes to who I am.
Hello, I'm the Rookie of the Year. Evan, do you know by chance, is there any criteria? I know you're not Disc Golf Pro Tour, but like PDGA Rookie of the Year, does that tie into it at all, or you just don't know?
I'm not sure if
Okay.
that officially gives them a tour pass, but what I do know is what I am assuming is the Disc Golf Pro Tour wants good players to play on their tour, and so if you win the PDGA Rookie of the Year, they're like, hey, that's a notable achievement that can get them on the radar to give one of those special exemptions to.
Right. What do we know about the Q series? Did you see this announcement, Paul?
No.
Okay, what do we know about it? Because I think this would have been more likely in some ways that Paul could have graduated up through than just kind of arbitrarily playing good at all these events you went to. There's a path to do that now. Josh, do you want to give us a little bit of the breakdown that you can tell with that?
Sure. Well, I'll give a little breakdown from the website, and then
Yeah,
others
do it.
can steer the conversation. But as the tour continues to increase, you just heard like Paul obviously having to apply for a tour card, which by the way is crazy because you just look back really a full handful of years and this didn't exist and now it does. So that's cool. And so as a result, you've got to earn your way on to the tour. And this new Q series, which Q standing for qualification, right, is basically a way for other players to gain some experience, but really earn a chance at a tour card. And so we can go to whatever the specific numbers are, but there's basically a series of A-tier events around the country, starting as early as May, culminating in a finale in November. You can go to the website really across the country. Looks like certainly like mostly leaning towards a little bit the South, Midwest, and West. And it also says other events can be added. But in short, they're taking the top handful. Again, we can go over the numbers, but the top handful of players who finish strong in those events, finish towards the top of the series point standings, you earn a tour card for 2025. And so it's a different way rather than just trying to play well and apply for an exemption. It's actually a way to earn a chance onto the tour. So we can fill in the details, but I'll stop my summary right there.
So Evan, what do you know about this at all? Because it sounds to me like it's almost, is it a tour? It's a Q Series tour. Like, so if you want to place well, you play as many of them as you can. Is that what you guys are hearing?
Events on the Q Series for, let's say, the regular season. I think I had that right. And only the top 3, I believe, count for your Q Series standings, which is a separate standings from the Disc Golf Pro Tour standings. So it's entirely unique to this Q Series, and you earn points, the same point breakdown as Disc Golf Pro Tour event or Disc Golf Pro Tour Elite events, as in like 100 points to the winner and so on, will be at the Q Series, but it'll be an entirely separate system. Your top 3 count, and then I think it is the top, here, let me have it right here, the top 25 players in FPO and top 50 in MPO for the Q Series earn an invite into the Q Series finale, which will be in November 2024 in the southeastern U.S. You can also get an invite to the tour, the Q Series finale, by being in the Disc Golf Pro Tour World standings, being farther down. So they say 46 to 80 in FPO and 91 to 150. So that's outside the automatic, I believe it's outside the automatic tour card qualification. Then you get into this finale. And the finale, it's just the top 3 players in MPO and the top 2 players in FPO in the finale get a full Disc Golf Pro Tour tour card, like the official. It's not considered gold, but the next one's silver. And if you finish 3rd to 5th in FPO or 4th to 8th in the Q Series finale in MPO, you get a silver tour card. And also, if you win a Q Series event, you get a silver tour card as well. So the interesting thing, though, to add on is, I believe since these are just A tiers, that they cannot restrict entry into these events. But what they can do is, I don't know if restrict's the right word, but essentially not count points for a player who is above the Q Series level. So if you have a Disc Golf Pro Tour tour card, you will not be considered for the next season. For 2025, you will not be considered for the points of a Q Series event. So the points it'll act like you weren't there, and it'll move down to the next player as if they finished one higher, and it'll go from there. If that is all making sense.
Yeah, so if you're Calvin Heimberg and you show up at the 303 Open, you can play, probably, assuming you register, but you're not stealing Q Series points from someone who's trying to earn a chance at a tour card, which I think is kind of fun to watch. And then I also know the actual, or I'm pretty sure the Q Series finale, which is the big event at the end, that is, I think, highly restricted. It'll be fun to watch that. It's all the way in November. We got a lot of golf between now and then, but the ones in that event are playing for a legitimate chance to tour in 2025, which is cool.
I have a question for Paul KRANS here in studio on that. But I also, before I send it to him, what player now, with that criteria in mind, would be the likeliest player to be like, I'm going to go win those events. Like, I'm going to go win Q Series events, knowing that, like, I don't take away points, but, like, it just wouldn't feel the same. Like, Silver Series or Silver events used to have that feeling of, like, they're just lower grade. Like, I'll go and win those. Now it's, like, a different thing. It's a qualifying series. So I don't expect to see someone like Calvin go take it down. I think he might feel awkward about it. That being said, Paul KRANS, if this was... By the way, does everyone just say your full name now? Like, just Paul KRANS?
Not often,
Okay,
but
it was me.
I don't know.
By the way,
branding
Paul KRANS, us New Englanders called crayons, crayons. Like, you got to brand with some crayons, man. I need to see some Paul KRANS.
No, I was thinking... Yeah, I was thinking actually his fans would be Cran fans. Yeah, Cran fans.
And what's crazy is Kansas City Chiefs won last night, so it's like everything's going good for him.
So my question is, if this was something that was around this year, I don't know your full life situation, but like if Q Series was a thing, is that what you would have targeted? Because like take yourself back a year, that would have been an entry point. Would you have tried to go that route?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't. I've never really believed in. I can't say I wouldn't believe. I have never been okay with just going out there to do. I don't even know how to explain it. I wouldn't be able to commit my life to the Q Series events.
Okay.
To sum it up, like I wouldn't be able to commit it to that, but I can commit to Pro Tour because I know that it's at the highest level and that there's a future to be had with it. Whereas like it's the same thing as a Monday qualifier event. I would not drive 15 hours to try to qualify for an event on a Monday and then fail and then have nowhere to go. So I need security basically to feel comfortable. But with that being said, it's like I worked in other areas to get to where I am. So if I was forced to play the Q Series events to get a tour card and there's absolutely no other way, I probably would try my best to get to a few of them.
Yeah, and that was going to be my follow-up because I'm curious.
Yeah, if you just win one event, you get a silver.
Oh, you get a silver tour card.
Yeah, just by winning, you get a silver tour card.
But not winning, you would have to play more to make it to
Yeah,
that
you'd have to
finale.
get points and get to the finale and get in.
And that's a fair perspective. And so Paul did what he was able to do, and he actually earned his way on. But for those who may be here in the future, we talked about this a year or two ago. How far out are we before it's going to be only people that have qualified? Like, you don't just get to say, I want to play an event.
Well, I thought it was going to be somewhat like that this year. With what I heard from people, they were like, oh, yeah, every event's going to be absolutely jam-packed with just tour card players. There were a few events. Open at Austin was full before it opened up to the first tier, I believe. Or it was near full, and only a few people got in, and everybody in that tournament is above 1,000 rated. So there's 112 competitors that are above 1,000 rated. So it is getting near there. You have to be over 1,000 to play in these events. But I thought it was going to be more like tour card players are for, like, only tour card players can play in them. But I was a little surprised when I saw that 1,000 rated players and even below 1,000 rated players can get in every now and again. So I kind of overassumed. I could have gotten into every event without a tour card. That's what I realized.
Without the security, though, and that comfort that you wanted, probably.
I could have gotten into every event without a tour card.
Because of your tiered registration for it, right? Being a 1020 rated player.
Yeah, being 1020, I would have been able to get into every event. So
that has its perks.
Yeah, so technically I didn't really need the tour card, but the tour card was like that 100% security that it is going to happen, and I'm in these events no matter what now.
Right. And forward thinking, if you have a tour card this year, how do you lose that tour card? Like, as in, like, don't they give people preference for the following year if you had a tour card?
If you're out of the top 80, I think the top 80 MPO get a tour card. So if I were to have a tour card this year and end up out of the top 80, then I wouldn't get one for next year. But if I'm hoping to be around like 30th at the highest. So I should be able to go into next year with the tour card.
I guess that's kind of what I'm saying is that's where that security of having the card comes, because in the future, let's say 2 years down the road or even a year, it's not what you're saying, which was like, I could get into every event. Mm-hmm. Then you're going to be like, I want to place well enough with my tour card.
Yeah. So I told my parents with getting the tour card, I look at it as I'm guaranteed to have a tour card for the rest of my life as long as I compete in these events. So getting the tour card right now, I'm looking at that as it's starting my future for the next 10 years, and I can have a tour card as long as I play.
Okay. So that is fantastic, and you obviously have worked very hard for that. Your time is very valuable. You're a few days out from leaving. We're actually going to let you go here in a few minutes, and I know the chat's going to be like, Matt, why are you rushing people out? But to be honest, I try to be courteous to our guests, and a lot of our guests that come on our show actually give us a timeline, or we ask for when they'd like to leave. So I'm not rushing anybody out here. But before we let you go, does anybody else have any follow-ups? Nick, you've been sitting inside kind of quiet. Is there any tips or tricks for him to come down? Is it super muddy still? Like, should he bring shorts, t-shirts?
No. We've had today was a tank top kind of day. It was great. I was wearing a sleeveless shirt working. No, we've hadn't had rain the last week, which has been great. The last 6 days. And when that happens, the course play is absolutely incredible. It's the most unique piece of property in Florida, especially for a disc golf course. And I would say just bring your A game, because that's literally what what you're gonna need out here. It's pretty sweet. Everyone that I've been able to talk to that's been out practicing and playing over the last 2 weeks, MPO and FPO combined, have said how incredibly fun the layout is, challenging, and honestly, I've heard nothing but great reviews from the FPO players that have played the course, and that was a huge thing that kind of went into all of this process, was designing a course with the same set of tee pads, but then different basket locations for the FPO division to get the same feel of the whole course, and I think we pretty much nailed it. So we're stoked. We are very, very happy.
I think more courses need that. I think every course needs that. Same tee pads, different baskets.
So you get ready to leave. What's your favorite snack on the road? What are you gonna go for?
Rice Krispie Squares.
Dude.
Yeah. Melissa at 978 bought me a box of 40 as my parting gift.
Very nice.
I was just gonna ask, could you eat a whole box or like a whole pan? Yeah.
I had another question for Nick. Is it windy on that property?
Today it was super windy, and it did come into effect for a lot of players that were playing, but there are some points of the course where you're at kind of like the highest. One of the holes apparently on the course is top 3 elevation points in all of Florida. Now, I could be wrong about that, but that's what I've been told. But when you get down into kind of the crater, the bowl of the property, it does kind of help out with the wind. It kind of kills it a little bit.
Would that be like Maple Hill windy when it gets really windy, or?
Probably not as Maple Hill windy. I don't know. We get hurricanes down here though, from what I've heard. So yeah, it just it all just depends on the weather that week. But today was pretty windy. I know Casey White was actually out at the course today, and so I got to chat with him for a little bit. But yeah, let me know when you get down here, and we'll go out, and maybe I can squeeze you in the last couple of hours of the All-Star event. Maybe I can pull some strings.
Maybe connections. Hey, I'm going to put you on the spot, but you're a friend of mine. We play on the same team. That's awesome to have you on our team. Of course, we just played this last weekend. And you saw my shirt and it said Staggered Stance, and you asked me about the name and the brand change. Do you mind telling me the words that came out of your mouth when you saw that name change?
It is absolutely genius. for our podcast, having a staggered stance on things is important. And then it fits disc golf, but also it can be promoted outside of disc golf. I think more disc golf brands need to separate themselves from like the only disc golf side of things. So like Disc Golf 978, for example, their clothing line, they named it, I think, first available. So it relates to disc golf if you hit first available tree, or it can be first available clothing, and it has some random person could see it and not even think that it's disc golf related. So I think more brands need to separate themselves from disc golf a little bit to grow more. So like a podcast, somebody hears Staggered Stance, they're not going to first think disc golf.
They're going to think exercise.
Yeah.
But eventually, yeah, anyways, I appreciate that. I put him on the spot, everybody, because we've had good conversations about it, and thought him sharing his opinion, not from the show side, would be valuable, at least to us, and I appreciate that. So we're going to let you go, man. I would normally say any shout outs, but you feel free. I mean, MVP, Simon Lozano, whoever you want.
MVP, definitely. They are supporting me an insane amount this year. Disc Golf 978, they have been amazing to me, and they've helped me with anything. They print. Oh, where's the?
Yeah, it's backwards like the weather guy.
They print. Oh my gosh, they print all the clothing. I got probably like 40 shirts printed by them, and they did it all in 2 days, and absolutely insane. And then Sunstein, they're supporting me this year with just finances and helping me. They looked over contracts for me, and they've just been a great support. Obviously Simon for helping me on the road. That's going to be a huge stress reliever, having him by my side and helping me out with Airbnbs and just being a good friend. And then my friends and family, obviously. They are the backbone to my success.
That's well said. Are you coming back for Team Challenge Finals?
No.
Oh, man.
Jeff Yetter, I am sorry, but I probably will not.
Dang it. All right. Simon just posted a vlog on Team Challenge. So
He
anyone
did.
that's listening that's curious of what that is and what we talk about throughout the winter season in New England, you can go check that out.
Yep.
Well, we wish you nothing but success, dude. I've got your phone number, and I know there's going to be some good storyline moments. We'll hit you up if you don't mind coming back on.
Sure.
We would love to let people know. All right, man. Without further ado, we're going to let you
Best
go,
of luck,
man.
Paul.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Paul.
You too. Bye.
See you in a few days.
All right, everybody. There's a few people that are saying that my microphone's echoing. A few. I did have somebody reach out to me. Are you guys hearing an echo in the call?
No.
No?
Oh, like you're asking us?
Yeah,
No,
like I don't
hear
know.
an
I'm
echo.
just sometimes like it comes up once, I kind of ignore it. Then it comes up twice, and I think maybe. But then it's possible it's because I rigged up the third microphone across from me, and I maybe didn't set the gates right or whatever. We'll figure that out. But that was a fantastic interview. I'm really excited and wish Paul really, really well. We have still more to talk about, and I'm going to actually, you can go back to Evan if you want to in the 5 up here, but
Well, I wanted to say one more thing on Paul KRANS, or related to Paul KRANS, before moving on. We of course won the PDGA Rookie of the Year, as we said many times, but the Disc Golf Pro Tour Rookie of the Year just recently changed for 2024 their criteria. So Paul KRANS would not have been a rookie for 2024 under the previous rules, since he played 4 total major and elite events in 2024, or 5 maybe. I forget exact number, but he passed the 3 threshold. And so now it's the first year of a tour card. I think it's once you play 6 events in a single year, and that's world standing point events. So majors and elite series, and that includes the Europe Elite Series, or if you play your 10th in your career, or if you qualify for the Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship. If any of those are met, that means it is your rookie season, if they have not already been met. So Paul KRANS will likely meet those this year based on his registration. So he will be, if I'm understanding it correctly, he will be a rookie eligible player for 2024 and could win the Disc Golf Pro Tour Rookie of the Year.
yeah. And just
Nothing like being a rookie of the year 2 years in a row. You know, that's always fun.
Yeah, well, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I think either Gannon Burr or Isaac Robinson did that recently.
Probably,
Somebody else won the Disc Golf Pro Tour Rookie of the Year after they won the PDGA Rookie of the Year directly following, and I'm sure it wasn't unique to only them. I mean, there's it doesn't seem crazy to win the PDGA Rookie of the Year, which is a professional award for, Paul KRANS played a lot of A tiers or regional B tiers at the pro level, but wasn't committing to a full tour, and now he is committing to a full pro tour. So it makes perfect sense to me, but I don't want to speak for everyone. Something that didn't make sense to me, just to keep it going with my talking, Nick, Brooksville is not close to the top 3 highest points in Florida according to Wikipedia. It is around the 20th.
Right.
And that's just
people are lying to me.
Yes, people are lying, but to their defense, like 30 feet can move you up the rankings like crazy in Florida. Yeah. So the highest peak is 345 feet. It's in Walton County. It's Britton Hill. So that is a monster. 345 feet. Oof.
Whoa! I can
but,
barely
and
throw
how,
to the top
and
of
how
that hill.
high is Olympus?
So if Nick wants to go out and survey it and tell us the exact one, I could be proven wrong, or Wikipedia could be proven wrong. But according to Wikipedia, the highest point in Hernando County, which is where Brooksville, Florida is located, is actually it's funny. It's 270 plus feet is what it says.
Yes.
270 plus.
So, and it says unnamed peak southeast of Brooksville. So I don't know if it's southeast of downtown Brooksville. Does that align?
We know the name.
know,
it's called Olympus.
Yeah.
I know
I'll take that
Olympus is
Wikipedia.
east of Brooksville. I don't know if it's southeast. I'm not well versed in that
we're
area.
east. Yeah, I don't know if we're technically southeast. But
All the
So there's
important-
also
it might be.
all the important
Chinsegat
talk.
Hill, which is 269 feet, and Munden Hill, which is 261 feet, which are both in Hernando County as well. Hickory Hill is 240 feet in Hernando County. So I don't know where these are in Hernando County.
Did you say Munden Hill? Did I hear you say that?
I
or
heard
did you say
Munden
something?
Hill. Yeah, 261 feet is Munden Hill. Is that where you are?
So I'm right off of Munden Hill Road.
Oh,
So
Yeah.
where's the hill? Can you even tell? Like
It's on hole 17.
Oh, look at that. Okay,
Yeah.
so Munden Hill is. I mean,
I don't
it
know if
says
I'm
it's
Munden
the
Hill though,
Brooksville
but
Ridge.
I'm
This
I
is
don't know.
incredible
This is
content
really-
right here.
I
The truth is, I'm curious, but I'm
Captivating.
probably not curious to take 10 minutes now and figure it out.
You guys,
But I am
talk
curious.
about something else. Evan and I are talking
Okay.
about this.
The
so you
hills.
guys,
We'll put
That's
you in a
that's
side
true.
room.
It's not that I don't want to know.
I'm not like an expert into like topography and maps and whatnot, but I do find them interesting and would love like to know good access and just to like look at topographic maps or like a good resources for these types of things. Like just I to continue on my nerdy talk of what interests me is I recently came across a map, and this was like a couple months back, not that recent, where it was the entire state of New Hampshire mapping every old like rock wall in the woods.
Oh, I've seen that with
You know,
LiDAR, all that
yeah,
stuff.
it was so cool. I was looking at that for like an hour and just like going across the state and just being like, oh, I wonder if there's any rock walls over here or there. And that stuff's awesome, but it's only like by state and it's so hard to get it for large areas. But yeah, something about Florida and finding all the peaks of Florida and seeing which ones can, get close to that.
All right. Well,
Ben,
welcome back to the
Nice
show.
you guys just got to go on mute and do a phone call or
All-star-
something. Ben just threw
All-star weekend.
just those three up. It's pretty funny. Okay.
Hey, I know, like, I'm sure we've got actual topics
Mhm.
to transition to, but, I would just random. I hope, Nick, whoever wins, like, the chess.com, like, on that last hole, they just, like, turn over to the other players and yell, like, checkmate or something. Like, is that, like, a thing?
That'd
I
be
really hope
awesome.
so.
Can also
We
Is the
Go ahead,
trophy a
Nick.
pawn? Or
Matt, that's really where mine was going. Like the
can't-
trophy has
A
to
pawn,
be
a queen, a king,
I
a
don't think I
bishop.
can say what the trophies are yet.
Okay.
I don't think so.
It should be a
Just
board.
blink
I do-
twice
knight.
if it's a
I
chess piece.
do. No, I'm just kidding.
He
I
made
do.
like
I do
five
know
times.
what they are. But one really cool thing that we did do is we actually just put a pawn on hole 18's sleeve for the basket. So you'll see a white pawn
Wow.
that sits underneath the basket. It's really cool.
That's awesome.
We had it specially made, but pretty sweet.
Yeah. Josh also beat me in chess, by the way. I think I was bragging about how I was 2-0 against him. Maybe I was doing that off air, but then I got whooped pretty hard by Josh. So 2-1 now, but my
I'm
ego
not
took a
good, but
beating.
any listeners out there, hit me up. Chess.com, J.E. Graham. You got it.
You got it. All
I
right.
get back
Well,
into it.
Evan, I know you have valuable time as well, and we're not paying you enough to stay on the full 2 hours. So you got anything else before we let you
You're
go?
not paying me enough either. But.
Nope, that'll do it for me.
That'll do.
I'm excited to talk. I walked right into that one.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, we got All-Star Weekend this week. This weekend, I said it again. All-Star Weekend this weekend. I can't avoid it. But Nick, excited to see your course that you own. Just kidding, that you manage. I've seen the YouTube coverage of Throw It on the Mountain in the past, but I know there's been lots of changes, and it's been a while since I've seen it. So pretty excited to watch the All-Star and then see what happens for chess.com as well.
What day are you coming down again?
That's new news. Yeah, I'll be down there next Thursday. So prior to the chess.com invitational.
So the day before chess.com.
Yep.
Okay.
So
Sweet. All right. Awesome.
Boom. I'm
Sounds
already
good.
getting friend requests on chess.com.
Come
just
on.
like that.
Heck yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
Beat-
All right.
yeah.
Josh is just gonna be playing people mid-air, midstream.
Evan and I did go back and forth a couple turns on a show like 2 weeks ago. So
yeah, we
That's
should live stream
hilarious.
at one time.
yeah, don't.
Can we play?
embarrass me.
Can we play
All
like
right.
Chinese? Can we do Chinese chess where it's like 8 people and go
Oh.
against each other and like
Oh,
while
Chinese
Matt's
chess.
talking, us
Chinese
four.
Chinese checkers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he wants to
Oh,
do a
Chinese
chess
chess.
version
No,
of
but
it.
there's actually like
Whoa.
multiplayer chess versions.
Okay.
Oh.
All right. Moving
There's
along.
like
here.
there's like Viking
We're-
chess.
we're gonna
Matt,
let-
come on, reel this in.
All right, see you
We're
later,
going to let
Evan.
Evan go. Evan, we thank you very much for your contributions tonight. We'll talk to you next
All right,
week.
next
Yeah.
week.
All right. Peace out. All right, everybody. Evan Kearns, Statmando.
I just want to say this for everyone who I have no idea if any of the chat's asking, but people have been posting and like playing the course out at Olympus recently. Thomas Gilbert posted a shot on hole 9 that kind of blew my mind. It's on his Instagram. He posted it saying Olympus is looking great, yada yada yada, and it's hole 9, and the hole wasn't even officially done correctly. So I had a tree guy out there limb up one of the trees. And we actually didn't go high enough because when we went back to the tee pad, the shot still wasn't realistically there. So we're like, okay, we'll limb up the tree. It's one of those modified pines where it's super skinny but really tall. And so Tree Guy comes back out, but before he comes back out, Thomas goes out and he's playing with a couple people, and he throws this insanely great hyzer flip destroyer shot down the left side of this. You have kind of 2 fairways for it, and goes on the left side, pretty much parks the basket that I think might get birdied 10 times throughout the whole tournament, like 10 to 15 times throughout the whole tournament, and he parked it, and I was just mind absolutely blown. Paul and I were talking about it. Paul Dillon and I were talking about it. We're like, well, I guess we didn't make the hole hard enough, but it's just a stupidly hard par 3. Normally, what's really funny is, thank God I don't play tour events anymore right now, because I play that hole and I just throw a Luna down at the bottom of the hill. I throw a Luna up the hill and I call it a day. I take my par. There are some holes on that property that I can't birdie.
Well,
but they're really enjoyable, and there are a lot of pro players who 100% can birdie them. They're that much better.
Speaking of Olympus, Nick, did you lock the gate for the night?
Did I lock the gate for the night? Who asked?
I'm asking.
Of course he did.
Technically, I didn't lock the gate for tonight because I wasn't the last one there, but Jeff Corrins.
Oh,
should be the
okay.
last
He
one
said
there.
don't. He said don't worry, Nick Carl. We just locked the gate for the night. All right. So as long as you knew he was gonna do it, there you go.
Oh, believe me, I know exactly what's going on at that property.
All right,
Yeah.
reining it in. A few topics here, and for the closeout of our show, and I'm like 55 minutes for the closeout. Yeah, we'll see where we get to. We are in the last week before live disc golf returns. Like, depending on when you listen to this, live disc golf might be starting on the day of you listening this. That's how close we are. So it is starting on February 16, 17, and 18. I believe there's live disc golf each day, but check with DGN to see their schedule.
Yeah,
and their
there
announcements.
is, and there's live even on the 15th, starting to see like the press conference, right? Which, whether you need to watch that live or not, probably not. But it's fun. All-star. I mean, players for the most part are itching and excited to go. They've had a restful off season. Some of them touring the world, some sitting at home relaxing. Whatever rejuvenates them. The All-Stars themselves, of course, are proud to have made it to be an All-Star. Again, most of them. And they're ready to go. And it's kind of fun to start an event that they get to showcase their talent, but we talk about the mental game of disc golf. And I'm sure some of them will feel the stress and anxiety of performing on camera, but it's really a free-flowing event. And so I even mentioned the press conference. It's a totally different vibe than some of the other ones, and it's a fun way to kind of ease into the season. So yes, Matt, it's all you can see on their website, all the coverage plans, but press conference Thursday, and then skills challenge on Friday, if I'm recalling right, doubles on Saturday, and singles on Sunday, and ramping us right up into the season. I mean, I'm ready for it.
So reactions to previous years of All-Stars, there was always a little something missing for me, and that I'm not the standard by which things are decided, but for me, it seemed like there wasn't enough, again, my perspective, lightheartedness. I wanted to see showing off. I wanted to see who cares, who really wins. You want the show. And you saw a little bit of that come out sometimes in the doubles, a little bit. I remember in previous years, like, oh, should I 360 throw this shot and try to clear, 650-foot clear over water? Like, yes, you should. It's the All-Star. So I really hope that some of that translates. The fact that they're doing the points separate now between like the showcase portion, I like that because there's not anything on the line per se. And I'm hoping that we see a little bit more of that. So a game we played last year called Pop Drop Lock, and we're going to be hopefully rolling out an app with an web software developer guy. His name's Shrek. We're just going to call him Shrek.
Shrek.
That's his name.
Shrek.
Shout out to Shrek.
Swamp.
We posted a video where you got to meet him at the end during the Disc Golf Expo. We posted up that video. But before that's launched, I want you guys to come back next week with a player in mind. And here's what this is. This is in preparation for the season because we don't have averages yet, but we can look at last year's averages. So the what am I trying to say? I'll get it out. The player who performs highest above their average going into this first event, not the All-Star, You got to pick who that player is that's going to shine, which sounds like just the game we're going to play. But I want to do it versus the whole season. So you're going to pick a player going into the whole season. So, like, instead of being like, hey, at that event, how did they perform? I want you to pick a performance of somebody. I'm getting this all messed up. But, like, so you pick Paul KRANS. He doesn't have an average last year, so that doesn't work. Pick Chandler Kramer. There you go.
There you go.
He had an average last year, and Evan's not here to give us that number, but that's why I'm giving you a full week to think about this. You pick a player, and it's going to be your whole season pick. So you're going to say which player is going to outperform their average from the previous year at the end of the season, like by the end of next year. So it's really looking for your pop-off player of the year.
How do we make an average for Paul KRANS? It's like I want to pick him as my pop-off player.
He has a few events, he does, but that might actually play against you because he played so well.
He finished pretty high up. 20th on
he played great,
championship.
which I think he's going to do again.
Yes, but pop-off would be like literally podium all year probably.
Yeah. No, I got you.
So you see what I'm saying? It took a long time for me to get there because I kind of just jotted this segment down. But it's literally picking a player from this year, or the previous year, 2023. Where did they average? So look at it going into this coming year. So if they average 20th and you pick them, that means you probably believe they're going to be placing really high. If you pick somebody who averaged 60th, that might be a better chance if you think they're going to play well. So you're looking for the pop-off player of the year.
Not that you're needing us to dive into it, but so I'm quick at doing math. So like Emerson Keith.
Give us one.
Averaged, if you just look at Pro Tour events, and so we can extend it beyond that, but that was easy for me to grab. If he finished 39th place on average, you're saying I would need to decide, like, if he's a good pick, that I think he's going to average higher than 39th.
You want somebody who's at least going to average one better. Yes. The goal would be pop-off. Yeah. So the higher up that average he moves, that's how you win. So if I get someone who averages 10 spots above and you do 12 spots, you win.
Yep.
It's the whole year.
So Emerson Keith could be a real play. I mean, averaging 39th. If you think he's going to average like 22nd, then you've got 17 points.
Absolutely. And I don't want to do the full game with the season like pop, drop, lock. I would rather just play pop for the season long, who's the pop-off player of the year. So I'll remind you guys during the week or as we get closer, make sure you pick that player, who it is for you. And then, so that's for we're picking it by the All-Star weekend, okay? So this coming show. That's before the first event starts. But then we'll go into the first actual tournament event doing pop, drop, lock for each event, okay? Mm-hmm. So next week we will actually pick the player of the year, or not player, pop of the year, and then we will pick our players for the next event, like pop, drop, lock, okay? That one can be done.
Our locks and our drops.
Yeah, exactly. And hopefully we'll have a prototype ready to go at least between us, and then we'll be able to hopefully roll that out to the masses so everybody can play along with pop, drop, lock. Wow. Sometimes my brain does not let me talk well. And everyone's like, we know.
Blame it on your brain.
It's the brain.
It's not your fault.
All right. Here's a topic for you. Speaking of Chandler Kramer, he made a post in social media. I think, did he play Olympus? Do you know, Nick? Do you know if he was down there?
Yeah, he's been out here a bunch.
Okay. So he played down at Olympus, and this is my understanding, because he talked about forehand dominant is how he is. And he didn't quite come out and say Olympus, but if that's the course he was playing, he said like hole 17 or 18. Which one would make sense, Nick? Which one would be like, is 18 probably more forehand friendly than any other hole?
I would say 17 and 18 are more forehand friendly than every other hole, of course.
So somewhere in there, and he alludes to the idea or just says it like, these are the only holes that are for somebody who can throw a forehand. The rest aren't, and I'm a forehand dominant player. Using him as a case study, do you think the rest of the panel here, do you think the time has come and gone for players to have a dominant? No, I'm not talking about preference. Like, hey, I prefer to throw backhand, but I can throw just as good forehand. Do you think the time has come and gone for you to be a player that says, I have only one dominant style of throw? And I don't know that's what he means, but for sake of conversation, what do you think, Nick?
Yeah. Can I answer this first?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I think the time has gone for you to be strictly a forehand player. Now, 2 of our last 3 world champions right? Yeah, 2 of our last 3 world champions, were 90% backhand players. Like, when do you ever see James Conrad throw a forehand? He's a strictly backhand player. Isaac Robinson is also mainly a strictly backhand player. For backhanding in our sport, especially as a righty backhand, I think there's a little bit. It's easier to be a righty backhand player than I would say it is to be a lefty backhand player in the sport of disc golf, currently where it's at right now. I think, though, as a forehand specialist, more often than not, you are going to find more holes are designed for backhand. And a lot of lefties will play this course. Like, Chris Clemens came out and played it, and he absolutely loves the course. Now, you got to think that a lefty is kind of doing the same lines as a righty, but technically, or a righty forehand, but technically the way that their disc shapes and everything like that, it's a little bit easier for them to control the fade out of the end of their flight. But yeah, as a righty forehand player, I think you have to develop a backhand in our sport. Long story short, you have to develop a backhand in our sport to be successful at it.
Well, and I was going to ask, is that because the courses are leaning towards backhand righty friendly, as opposed to just like the ability to do more with a disc on a backhand throw?
I think some courses definitely do lean more righty backhand friendly, but you're also constricted with the type of property that it is and designing the best possible course on said property. So if the best possible layout slightly does favor a righty backhand more than it does a righty forehand, then it kind of is what it is. And you'll have 98% of the field saying, oh my God, I absolutely love this course. It's incredible. It's a great time. And you might have 2% of the fields who say, it's just not that friendly of a place for the way that I play my disc golf game. And none of this is a slight at Chandler Kramer. Him and I have talked. He was one of the first pros, him and Robert Burge, to come out to the course. And I've been asking everyone that gets on and off the course to say, hey, give me the feedback. Like, what can we change? What can we help out with? And every single time they've come back with, hey, it's looking great. Or, hey, can you take out this? You know, hey, there's a vine leaning here. There's a vine hanging down from here. Okay, hey, let me go grab that for you. Yeah, that shouldn't be in the way. Let me clear this out. And so we're super receptive on all of the course criticism that's coming our way. But in all honesty, I don't think there will ever be the most successful player in the world will never be just strictly a righty forehand player.
Okay. Any other thoughts, Ben? You're not a strong forehand player that I can think of, and I'm not slighting you. I just don't think I've ever really seen you throw forehand.
No, yeah, I throw forehand when the shot calls for it. But yeah, I mean, everyone's answer should be what Nick just said, that backhand is just different. Just the way the mechanics to play, it's just a lot easier to get certain shots with backhand only than with forehand. It just dumps out. You can't really get that smooth flip up turnover. So yeah, I think you can compete with forehand only, but I agree with Nick. I don't think we'll ever see anyone really dominate forehand only. Maybe sneak off a win, but I don't see it. It's just too tough. It's really tough. You're really hurting yourself by being forehand only.
I think what you just said, you said everyone listen to Nick, and then I think what Ben just said is what I would land on. So we'll just keep passing it off here. Is that you're hurting yourself. Now, when I see somebody, again, this is not directed at Chandler. The conversation started because of his post. But when you see somebody that says, like, that is my thing, in my head immediately I'm thinking to myself, if that was me, and this is what everybody does in the world, and that's part of the problem, actually, if you say if that was me, because I don't want to judge him on this, but like, if I'm in his shoes, I'm probably thinking, how can I start working extremely hard on a backhand and like try to create more opportunity? You see Eagle McMahon, dang, lefty, like he's able to actually play, maybe not professionally, although we saw some at the European Open.
Yeah,
he won a major while throwing hyzer shots lefty.
Right. So like, I think there's a win there.
Forehand.
There's an absolute win there. And so I know that myself, I've said this, and I'm not a pro player, but I say, oh, like, I try not to even say I'm dominant with one or the other. I say my preference is backhand, but I can probably perform almost as equal with forehand for my game. I would think that at some level, like, players should be able to do that. It's just a conversation starter. I don't know, Josh, if you have anything to add to that.
I mean, probably no great insights. I mean, every single skill set you have for throwing discs, right? Everything from putting to forehand drives to forehand upshots, backhand, whatever list, right? All the unique throws, all those things. They're literally tools, right, in the proverbial disc golf tool belt, right, to help you excel. Obviously, the better you are at each of those skills, you become better. That's how you work yourself up the pro tour, consistency, all the things we know. I don't actually care which is dominant, but like in total, you have to have enough skills that separate you. And I think that's where you're all commenting and saying, yes, but we have never seen that, right? Like meaning purely forehand, exaggerative dominance. So Matt, this will be funny because we've talked on the side, right? So go back to like video games and think, I'm going to pick a classic. So you ready, listeners? Like Tony Hawk Pro Skater, and you can go in and tune your skater, right? And you got all of these skills and you slide the levers up and down, right? At some point, yes, if you overextend one particular thing so high, you're going to be amazing at that, but it's just going to like set you back. And I'm being funny with the video game comparison. But the point is if Chandler, as an example, can stay forehand dominant, but he's got to find a way to tune the other variables enough so he's not left behind. If all he's doing is throwing forehands, and we're exaggerating because that's not all he can do. But remember when he kind of popped off at European Open? Yeah. I think that's all we saw him do, right? And he still played incredible. But like to sustain that when the competition around the players nowadays continues to rise. That's why the fields are so much tighter. This is why you see some of the best in our sport of all time. The competition is much tighter, right, for them than it's ever been because everything keeps rising. So, I mean, it's just, to me, that's even, I'm not being as philosophical on whether the game should, serve lefties or righties or forehands or backhands. I mean, like all that's good, but it's just like you have to be as well-rounded. If you can get one notch higher than somebody else in one skill set, and on the course, that's the one skill set you need at that moment, then you've separated yourself. That's the margins, in my opinion.
I think you simplified it in a lot of ways. And to tie it all up, and whether it's eloquent or not, I believe that having all of the skill shots at the highest level is going to be that differentiator. Whether or not that course only calls for the forehand, like you said, maybe that's a thing, and you're better at that time and place. But I think to be the player on tour, it's going to be every single throw the best you can. And and to your point, if you're lucky and that's all it's called for on that one course, then there you go.
Well, it's not a fair comparison, but we've seen this over time. Do you remember when there was a time when Ricky was considered a forehand dominant player, and like he was kind of known? He was kind of known for that, and he was really good. But like that was like his thing. Like nobody thinks that about Ricky anymore. I mean, he's incredible forehand. People know it, but like that wasn't
true.
It. Right. And then there's some other players on the list, like, Eagles, etc. So like, it's just players need to learn to evolve. And so like, literally, we all talked about this last week. Chandler playing open bag. We're rooting for him to be exciting story. He's got the skill sets. Mm-hmm. So like, again, we're using him because it's a great way to have a catalyst for a discussion. But hopefully he stays as good as he is now forehand and then supplements the rest of his game up to that level. And then, sponsors may become knocking, right?
That's exactly, yeah.
We can kind of look at players in the past too, where, two that come to mind, especially Nate Sexton and Jeremy Colling, both in the 1020s to 1030s. Nate might have crested 1040 here and there. They've won the USDGC. They've won multiple Pro Tour events. They are forehand specialists. They predominantly lean on the forehand. But they also have 1,000 rated backhand still. They can pull out a 990, 1,000, 1010 rated backhand shot. Jeremy Colling's one of the furthest throwers in the game. Even still, he can throw the disc over 550 feet. He can still throw the backhand when needed. But will he throw the forehand more often than not? Yeah, absolutely. But you still need to be able to fall back on it in worst case scenarios. Like for me, I can throw a pretty dang good forehand. I'm not the best at it. I prefer to throw a backhand more often than not when I'm playing wood courses, but if I need to, I can throw a 1,000 rated forehand or a 1010 rated forehand, and that's why with me, where I'm at in my disc golf life, I still have success in local tournaments. When you get out to tour courses, though, obviously I get that it is much harder, but you still need to have that shot just in the back of your mind where I can't throw it. And I mean, James Conrad is one of those people where you just rarely ever see him throw a forehand, but if he needs to, then he could probably
Simon
get up and
vlog.
down on the shot.
Simon vlog. I
Yeah,
think I've
at the
seen
end of
it.
the day, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
if it's his best option, he'll throw the forehand.
Yeah.
But he's so good at the
He'll never be off the
backhand.
tee pad. But
Well,
yeah.
right, but he's so good at the backhand
Mhm.
that the best option for him is rarely a forehand. But that does eventually hold you back, even if it's just on the margins, right? Even if you're still throwing a 10-50 round, it's like, it could have been a 10-55 and that stroke might have been the difference. So
Yeah.
like that's all
Seriously.
I'm saying. It's just like you got to like tune every particular part of your game up. I have no problem with you being dominant in one area. That's
True.
going to happen.
Yeah, but I don't think I would want to refer to myself as being dominant in only one thing. That's kind of where the conversation stemmed from. So it's like, I want to be, yes, to say you're dominant in something means everything else is lacking, is how I hear it.
Yeah.
When you say you're dominant in something.
Yeah.
But
I talked to Paul about this because we've all had conversations with Chandler and the multiple pros that have come out to the course. And so Paul and I have actually talked about this to where, how unforehand friendly is Olympus. And if you really think about it, and he would explain it a lot better than I can because he has played the course. I still haven't even played all 18 holes of the course in succession yet. No, I haven't. The FPO layout is way more enjoyable to me than the MPO layout because the MPO layout is literally designed to test the best of the best in the MPO division. The FPO layout, though, is super fun. It's got 1 or 2 ace run shots that are really fun to see. You guys will be able to see it soon on coverage. That layout is it's kick-ass. But if you think about it, like, 2's drive may lean more towards a backhand, but the upshot on hole number 2, it's like a 700-foot par 4, is 1,000% a forehand shot. Hole 3, it's a backhand drive, but it's probably a really good forehand upshot. Hole 4, you can go on and on and on, where it might not be the best decision off of a tee pad, but it's almost guaranteed the best decision on your second shot, on your approach shot, especially for some of the par 4s where there is OB from a property line or something like that. But yeah, I still haven't played every single hole, and I'm hoping during chess.com week I'll finally be able to chill out just a little bit. I'll have the course in pristine condition with all the guys that have been helping out there, and I'm hoping to play around potentially with Paul. I'd love to play around with Simon and Paul KRANS. I would actually, probably out of most people, would love to play around with Paul KRANS.
Nice.
Just hang out. So
here's a wrap up of this topic, which it took us a while to get here, and that's fantastic. It's good content, gets my brain thinking. When I say the name Nate Sexton, what comes to your head? Is he a dominant player? You go, he's a blank dominant player. And I don't mean profanity. I mean and my answer actually is, initially I might go, oh yeah, he throws forehands, but I do not think I would actually classify Nate Sexton as forehand dominant. I don't think I would. If I meant prefers forehands, I might lean there. Do you guys agree with that, or would you see it differently?
I would say he prefers.
I think everyone's
for
entitled
sure.
to the. No, go ahead, Ben. Sorry.
I think he's not dominant, but prefers. I think he's more. He's like him and Jeremy Colling, like Nick was saying, are like the two on tour where I first think like they would rather throw the forehand if they can, but if the shot calls for a backhand, they'll throw the backhand.
There's a big difference in my mind between preference and dominant. That's all I'm trying to say.
So Matt, we're coming all the way around. The big challenge is the definition of the word that you used, right? And so when you use Chandler Kramer as an example of saying dominant, then we mean almost exclusively.
Right.
And yes, I do not think you can compete at the top level in our game if you're almost exclusive to one particular throw. You might pop off, which we've seen happen, but it's going to hold you back because the margins are so tight. I keep saying that, but it's like 1, 2, 3 strokes is like a big deal in the pro game, and 1, 2, or 3 strokes easily, right? A different kind of throw. The way the disc settles on the side of the hill. How you can navigate under the trees, the rotation of the disc, how it flips, like all those things come about with different throws. And that's partly why our game is fun. You can literally roll a disc, right? You can do a forehand roll or whatever.
Roller dominant.
Yeah.
Just wouldn't work.
But that's funny. But we know we've got some players, not really at the top level for good reason, who are like overhand dominant.
Yeah,
right.
True.
Like there are people who play that way, and it's like you can be pretty darn good, but if you can't do the other throws, you're stuck.
And when we said dominant, it's interesting because we go back to James Conrad. and he won Worlds. And I'm not the stat guy. Evan's already long gone here.
And US, right?
Yes, but there, and you have to. The times are changing, is all I'm trying to say. I don't know if we'll see that anymore. Let's count it. Let's look at players when they win this year or place well. If we would actually say they are stuck with realistically only one throw, and James could say I can throw a forehand, but
take Isaac Robinson. He won Champions Cup and Worlds last year, and you could probably count on one hand how many times on coverage you saw him throw a forehand.
I don't even know.
He just did it last year.
Tell you.
I think
that's what I mean.
I don't know his forehand, if it's a preference for him to throw backhand or if he's literally dominant. And
he's dominant for sure.
He's dominant.
I don't even know if I've ever seen him throw one.
But is that by preference or because he literally cannot execute as good of a shot? That's what I'm asking.
No.
I mean,
okay. Just because you can't execute as good of a shot doesn't mean that that's not what makes a preference. You can still be a dominant player.
So 14.
He's not throwing a 450-foot forehand shot, but if he needs to throw a chip A2 shot to the basket from 220, he probably has it in the bag. I bet you the same thing for Conrad. Probably throws an overstable mid-range from MVP. I don't know all their plastics. That he could do, but there's a comfort and dominance to it to where it's why would I do that when I know 9 times out of 10 I'm going to hit this shot exactly how I want to. 3 times out of 10 I'm going to hit this shot.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Nate Sexton, you were saying earlier, I think it's a preference for Nate Sexton. No, I think he's a forehand dominant player to where he will take the forehand shot 9 times out of 10, and he's 90 times more likely to be successful with the forehand shot than he ever will be with the backhand shot. And he'll admit it every day of the week.
Now we bring the conversation back to the level of dominance, because you look at him and he throws a backhand successful enough to in the past he's I don't want to say aging out, but he would talk. He's not
playing as much anymore. We don't see him as much anymore.
Right.
Yeah,
but I mean,
he
was keeping up with the backhand though. He was no slouch.
He's no slouch with it. No.
Right. And so I guess the level of dominance starts to separate. That's all I'm trying to say. James Conrad, Chandler Kramer. I don't even know Chandler Kramer's backhand. I literally just sent Isaac Robinson a text to ask him if he's a dominant backhand player.
Matt, I'll tell you this.
I'll text Nate Sexton right now and say you're a dominant forehand player.
But clarify, not preference, but
what did you say to Isaac? Because I'll say the same exact words to Nate in reverse.
Would you consider yourself a dominant backhand player, or do you throw backhand because it's a preference? I don't know how he'll interpret that, but that's literally
a trick question.
It's a trick question.
On for Worlds when he won on Fox Run, on 15 he threw a backhand, and that's the most forehand hole of all time. So I think that in itself is.
He throws a backhand on hole 6, which is the easiest dump forehand on Fox Run, and he throws a backhand on it.
Well, now Daniel in the chat's arguing with you, Nick. You'll have to get on that. So.
What is Daniel saying?
Nate's game is way more balanced than Isaac or Conrad.
I think he prefers.
Nate's game is 100% more balanced. I'll say that. Same thing, and I said that earlier about Coling as well. Their games are more balanced to where when they need to execute that 10-10 rated backhand shot, they can do it. But Nate will say if he can make the shot shape work for a forehand, he will 1,000% do it.
Okay.
But he can, I've seen Nate Sexton throw 450-foot backhand shots and throw power shots, but he's not doing that if he doesn't have to. He will full-on rely on the forehand.
Fair, and we just talked 30
I
minutes.
do agree with Daniel on that.
That was a lot on randomness.
You know what, though? People need this, their work day. Get them through their work day. They're like, dude, they're still talking about that. I must have just barely started work. Nope, you've been working for 30 minutes.
Next time we go to debate a topic, let's define the definition of the word first, and it'll be a lot easier.
Yeah, what is dominance? So,
Kansas City Chiefs.
All right, next topic. And this one's not to be debated because this is up to each person. And we're actually going to do this random select on screen who goes first. Give us your top 3 events that you're looking forward to. Here, we'll see who it starts with of the season. And you can't do Worlds realistically, and you can't do... I don't want to say any of the majors. We can't do any of the majors, okay? Because that's just those are expected big events that you look forward to. So any event outside of that. Who did it land on?
Josh.
Okay, Josh, you're first.
Ooh. All right. Okay, well, besides the majors then, because I'm putting an asterisk on that because the truth is those are the events I am most looking forward to. However, maybe this will surprise Nick again. I think if you want reasons, I'll give you reasons. But I'll start with chess.com, Idlewild, and MVP Open.
It doesn't surprise me at all. I'm stoked you guys are excited for it.
I think,
I thought Paul KRANS was saying it just because I was in the room.
To
But then he
schmooze
kind of
you.
explained it.
I'll be very brief as to why. One, there's a little bit of history on this course. That's probably not the main reason. I'm excited because it's the first event of the year. That's like part of it. Is just like I am ready to go. It's obviously fun seeing the connection with Paul and Dylan, and then Nick for us, you, like so just lots of reasons. Plus, I have since the sponsorship, and this is no lie, since you announced a sponsorship, I can't stop playing chess. So like I'm excited about that, like everything. That's why.
All right, Ben, get 3 up ready for us without Josh. So Nick, me, you. Okay, we're going to do our next selection. Who's it going to go to? You ready?
Nick.
Let's see. Oh, intern Ben, everybody. Ben's up next. You can go back to 4 up if you want.
Oh, okay. 4 up.
Either way.
Well, I guess I'll just go me. So my top 3 that I'm looking forward are Maple Hill, Green Mountain Championship, New England baby, and I'm looking forward to Ledgestone because, correct me if I'm wrong, it's not going to be at what's it called, Northwood Black anymore. It's just going to be
Just for this year.
Is it all the Eureka Lake, or is it a new course?
That I can't answer.
Okay, that's why I'm most excited. There you go.
No idea.
There you go. Because I'm excited to see, what's known for the most treacherous event of the year, what they're going to do to, make it still entertaining.
All right, and I'm not going to take Nick's spot here. I'll go last. Nick, what do you think?
Okay. I'm very easily excited for chess.com Invitational. GMC, because it's my favorite event, and I usually go to it every single year, whether I get to play or just spectate. Everything about Vermont is incredible to me. And then Beaver State Flings back on the Pro Tour circuit. I've always loved watching the coverage for Beaver State Fling. So just kind of thinking off the top of my head, those will be the ones I'm most looking forward to, besides for the majors.
Okay, and there's a reason to pick almost any event, whether it's the venue, the hype, or history. I got to find another H in there.
Hooligan.
And yeah, our hats. Hats are H too. Okay.
Whoa!
So chess.com Invitational. It is on my top 3. And it's probably the
Nick,
anticipation of this course. I know it's different, but being on tour was something that was always wanted, and I think we're all excited to see. So Nick, it can't be a flop, okay? Let's hope for like a massive. Let's hope for some like massive playoff or like a throw in, to win something big, just to make it dramatic and awesome.
Checkmate.
Yeah, checkmate,
baby.
Boom! I can see it. Remember when Simon at Des Moines pointed with his putt? He goes checkmate,
dude. I still want. If anyone has a picture of that, I want it. Have you guys ever seen? Is it Rick Weber or something? The bowler where he bowls a strike to win. The last one, and he goes, "Who do you think you are? I am." Like that's what I just want someone to say, like checkmate.
Pete Weber.
If they want someone to play up. Pete Weber. That's what it was. Pete Weber.
So like something like that.
Sick.
A playoff,
like
sudden death.
We need some emotion like that from players winning.
I hope the Pro Tour does some. They're going to do a hype video. Are they doing media day down there, Nick, for like All Stars? They used to do that. Whereas
I think Thursdays.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Thursday, you can watch it live.
No, I meant like media, as in like they're capturing all the footage of the players to promo and do hype reels and all that. That's kind of what
I'll say this: the Pro Tour all arrived within the past couple of days, and all of their stuff got sent to my house, and I have finally given them, my apartment, I should say. I have finally given them their things so they can hopefully do exactly what you're talking about.
Awesome. So that'll be cool. I'm looking for the hype videos. They've gotten so good at that over the years, getting better and better and better. So that was the first one. The second one for me, it was tough because I so badly wanted to say Portland because I thought it was beautiful. I wanted to say Green Mountains because that's obviously a great event, but I'm gonna go off the map a little bit here, and some will be happy to hear this, others will be surprised. But LWS Open at Idlewild, and the reason I pick this one is because it brings drama of competition tight. It's compressed scores, and some people find that boring, but when you're coming down the last 3 holes, there's chances to eagle if you need to. There's a lot of OB on 17, and then 18 is tight. It creates excitement. That's my second, and then the third is MVP Open. It's obviously a hometown. I live here in Leicester. Yeah. So there you go, my top 3.
Can we include the majors really quick?
Okay, now go to your majors.
Okay,
Nick.
yeah, let's do the majors. All right, I'm just gonna say, and I'm gonna take an extra kind of minute to say this too, but the World Championships being down in Lynchburg, Virginia, which is where I spent the last 3 years of my life living, and competing, playing, and meeting, the friends and family that I've been able to meet down there. Pro Worlds was really set up obviously by the PDGA, but one of the really kind of factors in everything happening in Lynchburg and Bedford County was a man named Kenny Palmer, who just actually recently passed away from brain cancer. But he's 99% of the reason why Bedford disc golf and Lynchburg disc golf, I would say Bedford disc golf, is as good as it is. Like New London, it was him and his team that really put that place together after Paul designed it, maintained it, and all the surrounding courses, the other ones that Paul was able to design and help out on. Kenny Palmer was the absolute man. Really, really nice guy, and just battled as hard as he could against cancer, but unfortunately did pass away just recently. So it's sad because he, like I said, he was one of the main reasons why Worlds is coming to Lynchburg, Virginia, and he won't get to see it the way that we would want him to. But anyways, Lynchburg, Virginia, that's the World Championships. That's what I'm looking forward to in the majors.
Man, cancer sucks, man.
Yeah.
So you guys might be blown away by this, but that's all the topics I had tonight. I knew Paul KRANS was going to be interesting. Evan brought us some great stats. We talked a few topics here. You guys have anything? We don't have to keep going, but if there's something that was pressing, otherwise we're going to wrap it up and we're going to get excited to start up for the first live disc golf event of the year, because after we watch live disc golf for a weekend, we're going to have a show, and that'll be the first time in a long time that's happened. So I'll be looking forward to that. Anything? Did I miss anything you guys wanted to talk about that we didn't get into the show notes? No?
No.
This is pretty much.
I don't know. I never heard it.
Okay.
No, nothing to add by way of topics. I am excited. It's been fun to join the show. And then now the disc golf season is kicking off. Lots is going to start happening. All-Star Weekend will be fun. I'm not sure how much we'll be able to talk about any real drama other than just the fun of it. But 2 weeks from now will come really, really quick, as I'm sure Nick is feeling. And I can't wait. It's going to be great. Every year, you start the year with what you think the possible big stories might be. Maybe that's a topic next time. Mm-hmm. And then you revisit at the end of the year and say, what were the actual stories that happened? Every once in a while you can hit, right? But more often than not, there's stories you don't even foresee. And that's part of what's fun watching the pro scene. You just don't know who's going to be the new player in, the new player out, other storylines. So it's just we've been waiting for it, and here it is.
I agree. Next week, or next episode is how I'll put this, we are planning on having Jeff Spring. That will be following the All-Star Weekend. Will it be interesting to see? We'll have questions about everything, I'm sure, depending on how that event unfolded, the live coverage, how that went. In fact, and I don't mean this as a slight to Jeff, but if everything goes really poorly, the Pro Tour might decide it's not best to be on media talking. So we'll hope for the best here. We hope it goes really well. But that's the plan as well. So stay tuned for that. I think he's going to do some other media appearances leading up to it, but we'll get him right after. So we'll get his thoughts after how it went and launching into the season. So that'll be really cool. Nick?
Yeah.
I know we're used to going 15 minutes more, but I'm going to hand it over to you to close it out, dude. Thanks to Disc Golf 978, dudes.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me mention that real quick. Disc Golf 978 is moving, I can announce this, to Meadowbrook Orchards. So their shop, they're no longer going to be in Fitchburg. They are going to put their whole entire shop at Meadowbrook Orchards. It's going to be an amazing complex.
And this is relevant to our listeners who come out They fly from all over the world to come to Maple Hill. And then you find out Meadowbrook is literally a short drive, 15, 20 minutes. And now you have more reason to go. The course and venue is amazing. You can grab lunch, breakfast, and there's going to be a world-class disc golf shop all included at this one venue. Yes, thank you, Disc Golf 978. Nick, take it away.
All right, just want to say thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in on this wonderful Monday night here on Staggered Stance. Thank you to Disc Golf 978. I want to shout out everyone down in the Brooksville and Tampa area who has come up to Olympus to play during our 2 opening weekends. You guys have made the reason we are doing all this just such a fun time. And I'm blessed to say that I was able to meet so many of you over the past 2 weekends. So thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on the YouTube channel. Tell someone you love them this week. We'll catch you in the next one.
Josh is trying to show us some art. His camera's a little overexposed. We're going to imagine it's beautiful. Nick, you're awesome. Ben, you're awesome. Josh, you're awesome. Until next time, everybody. Peace out.
Peace.